was from out here, but he was just a regular dude, man. I think if he'd have been from Trag New or Rolling 20 Crip or anything, it wasn't no point of reference. And I think on the West Coast, if you go come out as a rapper out here, I think you definitely have to at least have some kind of affiliation with somebody.
Well,
Gangster Chronicles, this is not your average show.
so both of y'all, being, connoisseurs of hip hop, and especially knowing the ins and outs of so-called gangster rap, would you say that gangster rap today is more of gang banging rap than gangster rap of yesterday?
I would say so, definitely, yeah, because they talk about stuff that y'all could. You got to think about it, Eiht. If you would have been on your records, Trag Knew This, and talk about who you was beefing with, man, you'd have had every show you went to shot up. They'd have shot that up. You'd have probably been in prison right now for shooting somebody, or possibly even worse than the alternative. You just couldn't say that type of stuff. You couldn't do that type of stuff, because I remember even me hanging out with Black, because I ran with Black Tone and High C and all of them real tough back then.
Right.
To the point where I was riding with RBX one night in Long Beach, and he was like, "Cuz, and he said, my bad, dog. I forgot you were B-Dog." I said, "Bro, I don't bang." He said, "For real, you didn't? I thought you was a blood." I said, "Bro, I'm not no blood, bro. These is just my homeboys. I just do shit with them. I'm not no blood, though." But it was that thick back then to where just by affiliation, you know how much shit I got into it with niggas, man, thinking that I was from the other side, dog, or I was from here. Especially when I would go back to Long Beach to kick it with the homies. "Oh, man, we seen you just don't switched up, nigga. You know, what's this?" And I'm like, "Bro, I am not no gangster, bro. I'm not no gangster." So for sure, it's for damn sure more gangster today, man.
And I think about it, look at all the because even with the Bloods and Crips album, which was so blatant, look at all the albums and singles and stuff now, and the songs, everybody's dropping, like Steel was saying, they're dropping specific sets, neighborhoods, streets, beefs. That wasn't going on near to the magnitude. I mean, look at like Cardi B had one of the biggest songs, shouting out Blood.
She's a blood, dog.
Shouting out Blood on a commercial single that had nobody had a song like that. Nobody, ever.
And why do you think that is accepted now? Because of how records are put out, with no restrictions, as far as labels are concerned. Because even if you are signed to a label, you can pretty much, I'm from this block, Ducky killed so-and-so from that block. We don't give a fuck. We represent, like you said, Bloods. We represent Crips. So coming from that era of where, we got labeled gangster rap, why isn't it so much restriction of those artists like we got? Is it because the financial gain that companies make? What is it?
I think gangbanging is commercialized right now. I think gangbanging is to the point now, Eiht, to where it's almost like a cultural aspect of hip hop right now.
I think it's been so commercialized that the quote unquote, even though it's obviously still super dangerous, I think to the outside person, they're like, "Oh, Justin Timberlake is walking in a video with Snoop Dogg. It must be cool to do it. It must be okay."
That's what I'm saying. And you just said the main culprit. I think Snoop came out and Snoop was so mainstream with his Crippin' dog, it took away the uncomfortable aspect of people.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a part of the culture now. Like, even going back to Shay Shice, I believe the reason Shay Shice didn't sell no records was because he wasn't from nowhere.
Wasn't he Australian or something?
Huh?
Wasn't he
Where was he from?
I think Australia or something.
No, he wasn't from Australia. He was from out here, but he was just a regular dude, man. I think if he'd have been from Trag New or Rolling 20 Crip or anything, it wasn't no point of reference. And I think on the West Coast, if you go come out as a rapper out here, I think you definitely have to at least have some kind of affiliation with somebody.
Well, it's because out here, we've had successful non-gang-banging rappers. You get
there's tons of them still.
Who?
Pharcyde, for instance.
Well, you know, Pharcyde, that's like going to the hip hop side of things, you know.
Well, that's what we're saying. There have been
Pharcyde, Razcast, and them.
Young MC.
making the type of music, like when you start, the moment you start talking about, and see, even though Shade was he wasn't talking about necessarily no rah-rah.
I think he was from Inglewood, actually.
Warren G and all of them, you know?
Do you think you get a better shot at becoming a successful artist from the West Coast if you are representing a neighborhood?
Hell yeah, I believe so.
Now you do.
As far as just, I mean, because that's so, you know, even Kendrick represented, you know, a neighborhood. You feel me?
Perfect example. Even though he really wasn't gang banged out like that, you still had a point of reference for him to where people be like, okay, Kendrick from over there. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because I think
you knew he affiliated with the Bloods. I mean, you knew that. I mean, everybody, you know, I think like Glasses and them said to a certain point, as far as the outside world concerned, they probably were like, oh my, he did, he was a fit, you know. But to niggas like us, we already knew he was a social, you know, where he grew up from, who he hung around, where his neighborhood was. So that was no, you know, big secret. But I'm just saying, do you think it helps your success as far as any artist from, because nowadays, let's face it, it's representation of gang everywhere. Do you feel that as a journalist and as a hip hop connoisseur, do you think that helps with your career as an artist if you're representing poverty and drive-by killings and oppression and all of that?
I think so, because
sadly,
hip-hop,
as far as the motherfucker who just comes out talking about, you know, hey, let's party, get drunk, spend money, whatever, you know.
I think there's two things with that, Eiht. One, they got to have good music, because you could be rapping. I mean, look at De La Soul. They had Potholes in My Lawn, launched their career before Me, Myself, and I. So, I mean, you could rap about whatever, but I think when the time comes, then people want to know about who is this dude? Who are these people? And then that's where
people start talking about your background.
That's where the legend is born of, oh, he's a real dude for real dude, because he's from so-and-so. And that's where I think the music is far and away the most important thing. But I think when, especially from really any major city, Chicago, LA, even New York now, of course, they want to know that street stuff.
Oh, and yeah, for sure. It becomes a part of your dossier, so to speak. Because you think about when Game first came out, even if Game only got shot one time in the ankle, it just made his story sound that much exciting. He got shot while he was in there selling crack, and he this big blood from over there. That just brought an air of mystery to him, man, an air of excitement to where it's like, okay, this big blood dude, Trey backing him up. He down with 50 Cent, who was the most powerful brand in hip-hop at the time. He was just set up, man, like the whole setup was, if he'd have been a dude from just Bellflower or some damn where, it wouldn't have been nowhere near as captivating.
Right.
Wouldn't nobody have bought into that shit.
And think about it. To that very point, Steele, this has been going on since '87 with Boys in the Hood, all that progression of Compton since '87 of building up Compton to where, oh, Game, he's from that lineage. He can point to everybody that's from Compton. The fans, oh man, I love this dude from Compton. It all matters. It all matters.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I think you would never have a rapper from Compton that's not affiliated with no gang blow up. Like the Far Side, I think they was accepted because they was from somewhere else, like Razcast from Carson. And all them dudes could very well be from somewhere, like, I don't know, you know, Raz is the homie, shout out Razzie. But I don't think Raz is no gangbanger. You see, I'm going to tell you the difference. Look at Exhibit, for example. Even though Exhibit don't claim no gang, look at Exhibit. When he was doing this shit with Razcast and all them dudes, marginal career at best. Had dope records. The foundation was dope as hell. All that stuff was dope. What you see is what you get, incredible. But when he linked up with Dre and started talking about Lolos and started Crip walking, motherfucker blew up. Am I right, son? Am I lying?
No, I mean, he definitely sold way more records, but I think, too, the main factor is he went from affiliation of Alcoholics and King T to affiliation with Dre and Snoop and being on there.
And he started talking some gangster shit.
He was doing that before, not to the magnitude per se, but he was definitely not talking soft by any means. He was a hardcore artist all the time.
Yeah, I banged some 40 days and nights and shit.
Exactly. Yeah, I
don't know if I necessarily looked at Exhibit as I don't know if I necessarily ever took him for the Alcoholics. You get me?
No,
from what you see is what you get now. I thought he was a LA nigga. You get me? I never was like, where this nigga from? Because usually comes out when you with LA rappers or Compton rappers. Thus I found out he was from somewhere else. Not from California, so to speak, but I don't know, the mannerisms of who he was all day West Coast. Even before the Dre and Snoop thing. I just thought that getting with Dre basically planted him as an official West Coast artist because of, I don't want to necessarily say like because Snoop and Dre and them was on gangster shit, because like you said, I did not know he wasn't from LA. So I just automatically assumed he was from somewhere, and that sometimes it works out like that too, especially if you, from one side or one section and you didn't venture out too much to different niggas' neighborhoods. You get me? So.
But let me also say this, Steele. One of the other early dudes, even though he's from Compton, that blew up is King T. He wasn't gang banging like that.
Yeah,
he was
huge. Yeah, King T was huge, man. But King T, even though he wasn't a gang banger, he talked gangster shit. Like his early shit, like whenever you come to Butter Bring a Gun, he was talking about gangster shit. About street relatable shit. So even though he wasn't as hardcore as CMW, he still was talking about gangster shit.
King T affiliated with a lot of neighborhoods in Compton, and he knew a lot of gang bang niggas and, from those walks of life. So again, that was a pure Compton nigga to me. You feel me? Yeah. I didn't
even know he wasn't from Compton. I just found out he wasn't from Compton maybe like 2 years ago. I found out he was from the Valley. I always thought Tila was from Compton.
Like I said, his representation to me, has always been official Compton. I don't give, you know, he was always one of those niggas who represented the town. Like I said, he was one of the first niggas I listened to coming up when I first got into hip hop. Still being a gang banging and he was the epitome of a Compton nigga to me.
Yeah.
And he had
khaki suits, you know, low riders and shit. His affiliation with Spade, you feel me? Spade's affiliation with Toddy T. I mean, yeah, like that was the epitome of Compton gangster to me.
Yeah, he was, and I always saw Tila as a gangster rapper. I never thought of Tila as nothing else. Now I knew he was a spitter, like when he put the Alcoholics on and all of them. See, King T, he never get the credit. King T started a lot of people's careers, man.
Of course.
Oh, definitely.
He jump-started a gang of people's careers, man. Tila was that dude, man, and I really wish his situation with Dre would have worked out a little bit better. But Tila was, shout out to DJ Bobcat, he hooked up with Dre. He wound up getting hooked up with Dre through DJ Bobcat because when Dre was first starting Aftermath, he asked Bobcat who he should go get. And he said, man, you should fuck with King T. He went and found King T. King T was somewhere drinking 40s, and Bob literally scooped him up and took him to Dre. True story. We got to get you on here, Bob, or I'm going to tell all the stories, dog. I can't keep holding them in.
Yeah, but King T, though, but King T, he did represent it and rapped about it a lot. I mean, I've interviewed him and talked to him about that on Unique Access, but he also had so much other stuff that he did that wasn't that. And most of his music wasn't that, even though some of it was. He had a lot of super political stuff that wasn't gangbang related, but he also
trying to take the gangster edge away from Tila. Everybody thought King T was a gangster rapper.
Not me.
You the only one. I thought he was. I thought he spit gangster. Now, he wasn't one dimensional.
That's what I'm saying. That wasn't his name.
90% of the brothers ain't like Eiht wasn't one dimensional. Every song Eiht had wasn't about shooting up, bang, bang, and killing niggas.
No, that's one thing about Tila. His representation wasn't always about the music to me. I just thought he was a gangster nigga from Compton because, like I said, he hung with the gangster niggas. He knew a lot of niggas from the streets and the neighborhoods, the low riding car, the Crips. You know, he was just associated with that foundation. You know, like I said, when you belling through Compton, you better bring a gun and all that type. All the earlier works that he did with Spade and all of them. I knew that he wasn't always or didn't speak on neighborhoods.
Yeah, look
at
a
lot of records.
For instance,
he had a lot. Yeah, bass. Play at your own risk.
Rough Rhymes.
Rough Rhymes.
There's a ton of them still. Flirt. Guitar.
I mean, shit, the coolest. Yeah. I mean, he had a lot of records with Unknown in them that wasn't about, you know, he was just rapping. You get me? But he was to us, he was a gangster nigga because, you know, he had he was in the streets. You know what I'm saying? It was about Compton. He spoke on Compton and gangbang situations, and you know that was just it.
What album was that, man? That was I would say, man, your shit, Eiht, y'all shit, music to drive by where y'all sitting in the thing, y'all got the gats in the back. I think that and King T's album cover is two of the hardest album covers in hip hop.
Yeah,
the one where he walked down the street in the khaki suit with the gauge on the side.
I thought that was the hardest album cover ever. Just
you're talking about Active Fool still.
Yeah, with Pooh kneeling down, and they got the caddy on the Dayton's nigga, and my nigga got the gray khaki suit on, and he dragging the 12 gauge nigga. That was the epitome of hood right there.
As soon as you saw that, you thought like, damn, man,
there's some gangster shit. Right, you immediately thought, oh, this some gangster shit. Nigga, the Cadillac, Dayton's, 12 gauge in the khaki suit, and then the homie kneeling down, nigga, with the stars on or something. Like, oh, yeah, these niggas is from the hood somewhere.
Gangster Chronicles, we gon' tell you how it goes.
If I lie, my nose will grow like Pinocchio. We gon' tell you the truth and nothing but the truth.
Gangster Chronicles, this is